Hello, everybody. My name is Alvaro Muente, and I'm reporting live for Wingspan News. Today, we're going to talk about a country named Mexico and its educational background. Let me give you a little background on this country. Let's start with it's just south of the United States, and it borders Texas, New Mexico, Arizona, California. Mexico is roughly about 2 million square feet in size, and its capital is Mexico City. Mexico became independent from Spain after a war in 1821. The population as of 2012 is roughly 115 million people, and their currency is the peso. Their flag is red, white, and green, and it has a emblem in the middle representing their freedom. We did have a chance to speak to a former Mexican student who gives us a little bit more insight on a little bit more of the educational background or what they needed for education or what an ordinary day kind of looks like in Mexico. His name is Arturo, and now I'll send it out to him, and let's see how that goes. All right, thanks for joining us today. With us today, we have Arturo from Mexico. What is the educational system like in Mexico?
Well, the educational system is a little bit different than it is here. It's different everywhere in the world, but they have the metric system that they use in Mexico as opposed to the empirical that they use here. So everything based 10 as opposed to everything done with numbers that translate difficult to understand. And the educational system in Mexico has primary system and has secondary as well.
Oh, nice. Okay. And how are the elementary schools and high schools different in Mexico than they are here in the United States?
Well, they're different because in Mexico they have primary school, which is from kindergarten all the way up to sixth, and then they have a first grade school all the way up to second, third, fourth, and five. So it's still the same 12 years that they do here, but it's split up into two separate schooling methods of primary and secondary, I suppose.
The education for teachers in Mexico different than here in the United States? Do they go through the same programs, or is there? And because here in the United States they have to go and do a subject area exam and then go from there. How is that different in Mexico than here?
They have to have a roundabout. They need a well-rounded education.
Right. Do they go to college for that?
Or? Yeah, they can go to college for education for elementary education, which is primary education.
All right. And lastly, Arturo, let me ask you a little bit about an ordinary school day in Mexico as opposed to one here in the United States. Here we have 6 or 7 periods. What does one look like there?
Well, instead of using periods, they do block scheduling, kind of like sometimes some of the schools do here, the high schools. But in primary school, they'll have one day where they'll have like PE, and then they'll have arts and crafts, and then the teachers will actually come into the classroom as opposed to students going to different teachers' classrooms like they do here in secondary school.
Okay. Well, I appreciate your time.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Okay.
And now I'll take it back to you guys. Thank you, Arturo, and that was a great interview. I would also like to talk a little bit about something that Arturo did not talk much about. It's teachers, education, and salaries. Salaries, they're just like any other underdeveloping countries and very low for teachers. In 1998, an entry-level teacher gross annual salary for an elementary school teacher was about $6,000. And even teachers with 10 years of experience earned an annual gross salary of $79,000. This includes vacations, bonuses, and other benefits. That's very very sad. Jobs in Mexico City are among the best paying jobs, and considering that these type of individuals, it's the poorest region of the country, and is equivalent to half the entry-level salaries of teachers in the rest of the country. That profession, teaching profession in Mexico, is no longer even looked at as a prestige job like it once was. Now, let's talk a little bit about the university teaching. It is, for the most part, a part time occupation, and they usually go to vocational schools, so not many teachers are needed at the university level. So, and lastly, I'd like to end with my favorite thing that I learned from the Mexican culture is that they take on um, students from the United States, and the United States takes students from here to Mexico to do a multicultural lesson. And I love it, and it was awesome, and I learned a lot about it. And hopefully, in the next Wingspan News, I'll be able to go in more detail about that. Thanks for joining us today.